Christian Taylor is the undisputed king of the triple jump, a double Olympic gold medalist and four-time world champion. The USA track and field athlete is seeking to defend his crown 1 year from now at the Tokyo Olympic Games. While Taylor also remains intent on breaking a world record, which has stood since 1995, his latest professional endeavor involves assuming the presidency of the Athletics Association, an organization committed to furthering the rights and the voice of athletes within his sport. So what exactly is next for the multitasking triple jumper as he leaps forward boldly both on and off the track? Hello and welcome to another video edition of ATRadio. I'm Brian Pinelli. And joining us now from his home in Vienna, Austria, is the double Olympic champion, Christian Taylor. Hello, Christian. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, Brian. Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, Christian, let's get right to it. Obviously, it's been a challenging 4 months for athletes all around the world, shut down, kept out of training facilities during COVID-19. What have things been like for you? How have you coped and dealt with this difficult situation?
Yeah, so fortunately, I was able to make it to Europe, and obviously the conditions and the environment is very different than how it is in the States. But for the past 3.5 months, I was in Jacksonville, Florida. And as you've probably seen on the news or read about, that Florida is one of the hot spots in the US at this time. And so with cases just ramping up, we unfortunately lost the normal training facility. We trained at UNF, and once the colleges closed, then, so we lost our training facility, and we had to be a bit flexible, and we attempted to go to the beach, but then everybody else from the city went to the beach, and we had to play it safe and distance ourselves from there. So it was very challenging, to say the least, but we made the best of the situation, tried to stay positive, but at the end, it just became too much, and I decided to do what I could to come over to Europe, and now I'm in a very safe place, safe environment where I can train and lift and do everything 100%.
Friday night would have been the opening ceremony in Tokyo, most likely another Olympic Games for you. Tokyo pushing forward, working diligently, trying to manage a tough situation along with the IOC. They've adapted the hashtag Stronger Together. For you as an experienced athlete, obviously you've been through adversity before, and for your fellow athletes, how are you dealing? How has this 1 year delay potentially affected you and, some of your teammates and colleagues?
Yes, so the US, we say, is the hardest team to make, and there are no guarantees. Doesn't matter if the year before went well, it doesn't matter if you're the reigning champion. The Olympic trials are very special for that reason. It is the trials, and on any given day, it is anyone's chance. Anyone has opportunity to do it. So I never take that for granted, and I go in full throttle with my eyes on the prize. I know if I can get to the Olympic Games, then anything can happen, but I must make that team. The postponement was difficult. We did ask for the postponement as the athletes, but nonetheless, it is difficult because though it may be my third time, it is still a lifetime dream. And, this is something that my coach and I work for daily. It is, I would say, also mentally frustrating because you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we had everything in place to be at the best shape and to be in the best state of mind for those trials and ultimately the Olympic Games. But we must now work together globally to do our part when it comes to the COVID cases, wearing the mask and washing the hands and respecting and keeping the social distancing, but then also knowing that everyone is in the same boat and that we all must be positive and flexible and understanding, but knowing that we can make a difference and in 1 year's time, hopefully be at the position where we are sitting in Tokyo, watching and participating in the Olympic Games.
Yeah. As mentioned, you are in Vienna. Seems to be somewhat under control, the coronavirus here in Central Europe. Some events, sports opening up. When will we see you back out on the track, Christian?
Yeah, so my plan is actually this upcoming weekend. I have my 100-meter race in Ondorf, Austria. then in 2 weeks, I'm actually going to be participating in I'm going to be honorary guest in the Austrian Championship. So I'm very excited about that. And seeing that the U.S. Championships were now postponed or canceled this summer, it's nice to be able to showcase the shape that I'm in. And then I'd like to, travel Europe, preferably by car, to play it safe, but to go to the meet that we know, in Ostrava, the Golden Spike meeting, and yeah, to travel to Hungary and Slovakia, so many neighboring countries. But as you know, it's very easy to get around, and at this time, this is the safest means of travel.
Let's jump off the track for a moment. Last week, the announcement that you are the new president of the Athletics Association, a track and field body trying to enhance the independent voice of athletes. Tell me a little bit about taking on this responsibility, this position, and what do you hope to accomplish?
Yes, so this is a very proud moment that we, got to the point from November. We announced that enough is enough, and the athletes need to be heard and have influence. And as you said last week, we officially launched, and with our partnering of global athletes, it's just a very proud moment. But I have to say, also a very exhausting process. So personally, it has taken a toll, and I believe actually the postponement of the Olympic Games may serve as a blessing. Some added time that we can get this into place and get the athletes informed on who we are and what we are striving for, and then hopefully next year we can hit the ground running. But as you said, I want to really hone in on the detail of being the independent body. This is something that really separates us from the existing athlete commissions or the existing athlete bodies, because most of them fall under a larger umbrella, and we are an independent body that can be an unfiltered, unbiased voice of the athlete body, and I think that is very important.
That being said, and as you mentioned, obviously World Athletics and the IOC both have athlete commissions that continue to support the athlete's voice. You mentioned you guys are entirely independent. How easy, how important is it to get a flow of communication going with, for example, the World Athletics Federation President Sebastian Coe or other leaders with World Athletics?
Yeah, so one thing we're always skeptical and mindful of is not stepping on anyone's toes. So we understand and we respect that the athlete commissions and the athlete bodies that are existing are there and do have a level of respect and a relationship, an established relationship to this point with the governing bodies. We want to work with them, and our hope is that by us presenting our aims and by us coming to the table, that hopefully we are able to only magnify what they're doing. If they express that their core value and their mission is in the benefit and the best interest of the athletic body, then we are fighting the same fight and we are working towards the same goal. And so there should be no issue. But the thing is, what we also strive to do is to keep these governing bodies and keep these athlete commissions and keep these bodies basically accountable, to make sure that they are doing what we hope and believe that they are doing. And that is the thing. But we are not trying to step on anyone's toes, and hopefully are able to work with them in a unique fashion.
Christian, obviously, so much discussion, a dialogue, even more recently, about Rule 50, which prohibits athlete demonstrations on the field of play and during medal ceremonies. Last week on the Athletics Association, you guys tweeted, and let me read it verbatim. We strongly believe that if athletes are protesting in the spirit of Olympism, then to punish them for these peaceful protests goes against what the Olympics is supposed to represent and encourage. Hashtag Rule 50. Your thoughts on that? What would you like to see happen with Rule 50? Because it seems like a challenging situation for all.
It's very clear that this rule is not even challenging, but it's clearly against our human right to be able to express pain, grief, support, however you want to look at it, in a peaceful manner, in a clear manner. If it is just, it baffles me to think that this writing was allowed to come into play, but that also that once it has been challenged, that the writing has not been erased or modified or corrected, but it, as you said, it goes against, or as we said, it goes against the spirit of Olympicism, and it really goes against our human rights. There are injustices that have been being faced and continue to be faced, and we believe that, again, if it is a clear message, that if it is a peaceful message, and there's been a lot of arguments saying that they don't want to take away from the performance or take away from the others, on the podium. But if this platform is clear and it is a global one, I believe that we should have every right as role models to go out there and express these emotions.
Some have said, well, the athletes have a voice in the mix zone. You can express your opinion, say anything you want to journalists in the mix zone. I know one concern, Kirsty Coventry, IOC Athletes Commission chair, she said, well, what if you have three athletes on the podium at the same time, all protesting something different with a different gesture? That most likely wouldn't look very good either. So what is the solution here?
Well, the reason it is being so protected, meaning the podium, is because there is a level of significance with this. So if the mixed zone was just as powerful as the podium, then there would be a rule protecting the mixed zone. If the field of play, so the thing that we have to really realize is that Rule 50, and I believe it is field of play and the podium, but the thing that is really being defended so strongly is the podium, is the part when you get your medals and the national anthem. And regardless of if there are three different people protesting, if there's one person, there's a significant weight that lies on that podium moment. The world is looking at you. The world is looking at that athlete. And that also shows how much power that protest at that moment can have. We are still talking about Dr. John Carlos to this day because of his actions, not of what he said in the mixed zone or what he didn't say, not what he did or did not say in the Olympic Village, but what he did on the podium. So this should show you how important it is to get this writing corrected.
So what are the next steps to continuing this dialogue? And as you mentioned, getting this rule changed.
Continuing to voice the opposition towards this, to continue presenting suggestions and suggestive language, and because that is the thing. It is very easy to cast a stone and to say no, but what we want and what we're striving for is that we can speak to the athletes and say, though it will not be completely erased, what language are you comfortable with? What language do you feel that you can still express yourself, but also be respectful? And so this is the position we want, but we have to continue speaking about it. We have to continue pushing against it, because when you go quiet, when you stop, then it dies. And we have to keep fanning this flame.
Well said, Christian. Well said. Another issue, maybe not as important on the global scale, but a decision that has obviously affected you, and I assume this is something with the Athletics Commission that you also assume to pursue. 4 events dropped from the Diamond League circuit: the 200 meters, 3,000 meter steeplechase, discus, and of course your event, the triple jump. Thoughts on this moving forward? Was this a decision taken without consultation of athletes? And do you hope to get this changed for future Diamond League meets when they do happen?
Yeah. So to answer your question of where the athletes communicated with, we believe and to my understanding that the Athlete Commission was notified shortly of the decision. But again, which I told them, this should show and reflect in real time how World Athletics actually views the commission. If you guys are not at the table even having these conversations when it's being proposed, let alone actually being put into place, it shows you actually really how they feel about you. And this, again, was was only the catalyst. So this is not the reason for the Athletics Association, but only it was the last straw that enough became enough. And this was not to belittle or push aside the Athletes Commission, but it was to say that we cannot take this anymore. And if the Athletes Commission is focused on doing their task and they have their checklist, this is great, and we hope that they continue to do their work. But as an independent body, our board is standing for having a seat at this table, and being able to say yes and no, again, present suggested proposals and solutions, but to be at the position where we can inform the athletes globally. Because when this decision came, of course, I was really shaken at the beginning. I did not know who to speak to, whether it was my agent, the Athlete Commission, President Sevco. I did not know who to go to, and for me, this is not how the sport should be run. I should have at least had months, let alone to prepare for this. But to think that actually, finances and Olympic preparation, because at that time we were going to be preparing for the Olympic Games, there would be a lot of change, a lot of hits, and we should be able to make this adjustment. So there's really a lack of communication on many different sides.
You've also spoken out with another athlete organization, Global Athlete, that continues to become more and more vocal. Also last week, Global Athlete, calling on immediate and strong reforms with WADA, the anti-doping governing body. Thoughts on this pursuit? Another important, maybe the word is battle.
Yeah. One thing you will see with these call to actions or these call outs is that many of the same times the spirit is the same. That it is, where's the athlete? Where is the athlete in this? Also, transparency. This is something that lacks on many different levels. And when we challenge World Athletics about being more transparent about funding, being more transparent about decision making, and now the same is with WADA. When the call is to be transparent, there's such a pushback with this. But I think it's very easy to believe that if there is nothing to hide, there should be no issue with transparency. You should be able to say, this is the direction we wish to go to. This is the reason why we were making these decisions or acting in this manner. But there's always this resistance or this procrastination when we're asking to just be spoken to. And so Global Athletes are stars. We're grateful to work with them, but also we know that their heart is really for the athlete, and they want to put the athlete front and center.
Yeah. Christian, of course, as a two-time Olympian, you have a long existing relationship with the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. They've gone through some, pretty strong changes recently as well. Although last week, Sarah Hirschland announced a COVID-19 athlete assistance program. There's pressure on all NOCs, right, with the postponement of the Olympic Games and continuing to support their athletes. And it's just a difficult situation. But your thoughts on USOPC? Are they doing enough considering circumstances?
The blessing that has come from this is now I've been able to actually meet and speak with Ms. Hirschland herself, and this is something I don't take for granted. And it is, again, it's very easy to cast a stone and say you should be doing more, but you also have to realize that there are levels to decisions. And there's a question on, we want to give out more money, but where does the money come from? It is a business at the end of the day, and what I'm trying to say is I understand both sides of the situation. I'm grateful for the town halls that the USOPC are having and communicating with the athletes. I'm grateful for the town halls where athletes could just voice their hurt, their confusion with the postponements, their way of processing the death of George Floyd. Regardless of what it's been, this has been such a difficult time and in a unique year. And I believe the USOPC has stepped up and say, let's hear what the athletes are going through. Once this wave has passed, the only thing I spoke to Ms. Herson about was the actionable part. Now that you've heard how the athletes feel about Rule 50, how the athletes have felt about the postponement, how we've talked it. Now we must walk the walk. And this is when we know USOPC truly has our back. This is when we know USOPC is really standing for the athletes. Not that you listen to us, you heard us, and you continue going down your life, but that actually change is made. So I can say very specifically, one of the asks that we are really pushing for is with Rule 50, if the IOC does not decide to change the language, that the USOPC does not punish us separately, that they have our back. If there is a fine, if there is some punishment that the IOC wishes to say, that the USOPC says, but we support our athletes. If, again, the message is clear. Don't go up on the podium and be foolish and think that the USOPC is going to have you. But if it is a clear message that the USOPC says, yes, we have spoken with this athlete. Yes, we understand where this athlete comes from, and we support what they're standing for. For me, this message will go so much longer than you and I will be talking about.
Christian, your pursuits truly admirable. Wish the best for you and all the athlete commissions and your endeavors. Another project you've been involved in, which I think maybe puts a smile on people's faces a lot quicker, is Classroom Champions, an organization co-started by USA bobsled champion Steve Mesler, connecting Olympians and top athletes with classrooms, whether it be virtually or in person. Tell me a little bit about your work with Classroom Champions and cooperating with Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve is a dear friend, of course, a fellow Gator. And as you said, I cannot even talk about Classroom Champions without smiling, because it is working with students and teachers across the U.S. There are mentors that work with in Canada, but I am a U.S. athlete, so I'm working in the U.S. sector. But it has been such a pleasure, actually my motivation for the last 6 years. I got onto the podium at 2012 as a 22-year-old and became Olympic champ so quickly and thought, this is it. I got to represent my city, my school, my country, but that's it. That moment is past. And then my agent connected me with Steve, and he told me basically, have a greater impact, not just in the sport, but in kids' lives in the next generation. And for me, this just puts so much more gravity on the weight. This puts so much more gravity on my daily training and who I strive to be. And so now they are really my added motivation when I don't want to go out and train, when it is cold and rainy. These kids are really singing songs and shooting me messages because they believe in me and they want to see me succeed, as vice versa. But it has been such a wonderful journey.
Nice stuff. Well done, Christian. Keep it up. Definitely a fantastic initiative that you're involved in, along with Steve. Should we go back on the track? Can I challenge you
Sure.
on the track?
No problem.
I wouldn't be doing my job, Christian, if I didn't ask you about this world record that dates back to 1995. I know you know it very well. Jonathan Edwards, 18.29 meters, 60 feet in the triple jump. I know you've gone 18.21 meters in Beijing at the World Championships. 8 centimeters. What is it going to take for you to break Jonathan Edwards' world record? And if I can, look down the line a little bit, could this happen at the Tokyo Olympic Games?
To be really honest, as I said, it's been very frustrating because my coach and I believe this was the year to do it. I turned 30 years old, and I thought, what a better way to cap off going into the next decade. As the new world record holder, as the new reigning and current Olympic champion. I had these banners and I visualized it so often. And actually this week, I actually did get to speak to Jonathan Edwards, and try to some tips from him and understand what he did for training. And so the thing is, I'm a respecter of the past, and I know that I've been successful and I mean, we're talking about 8 centimeters, right? So it is very, very close, but nonetheless, you have to put it all together to surpass it. And so, that was a very unique experience, but, hopefully and God willing, that next year is going to be the year that I'm only going to be smarter, stronger, even more experienced, and the added motivation of coming from the COVID-19 pandemic, that everything is to the back and ready to roll.
Great stuff. Good luck with that as well, to take down the long-standing record of your British colleague and I guess friend. Last one for you, Christian. Obviously, we're all living in uncertain times. We don't know which competitions across all sports are going to continue. Organizers and sport leaders doing the best to move things forward during a very difficult situation. As an athlete, again with the uncertainty, can you kind of set a course for these the next year toward the Tokyo Games? Is it wait and see? I mean, how much can you plan and set a game plan with all the uncertainty out there?
As you've seen, as you know, we are on, before it was month to month basis. Now I believe we are almost on a day-to-day basis. CNN can tell you, something is lifted, and then the next day it's closed again. And so now I try to at least plan weekly. I think this is as far as I'm comfortable planning out, because you just don't know. And highlight, it is so uncertain. I've had meetings that really 2 weeks ago were concrete and we're full throttle, and in the last 2 weeks their cases in this country have risen and things have been shut down. And so there is still that significant level of uncertainty, and I'm okay with that. I think we can really learn a lot during this time, and for sure we're going to learn to be not take so many things for granted. You be a little more grateful for the little things, especially people and time. But the biggest part is focus on the controllables. You can't control what is happening in other countries and other cities, but you can control your environment. And so if you're doing what you can to be safe, and do your part, I just want to keep pushing that. If you do your part, then, if everyone does that, then we can all get through this. And so right now I'm just taking it week to week.
All right, Christian. Thanks so much for joining us on ATR. Thanks for your time. Good luck with the endeavors of the Athletics Association, and obviously all the best on the track. Hope to see you there in Tokyo 2021.
Thank you so much, Brian. Stay safe, and hopefully we meet each other again in the mix zone.
Thank you, Christian. And thanks to you for joining us on this edition of ATRadio. I'm Brian Pinelli. For more than 25 years, AroundTheRings.com, your best source of news and information about the Olympic Games. Have a great day, everybody.